Hello, welcome to the TFG Network. I am Chris Ferzoco.
And I'm Joe Ferzoco. Welcome, and if this is your first time to the channel, please subscribe below, tap that bell for instant notifications, and please hit the like button, and you'll be the first to get the most up-to-date market and stats information here at the Jersey Shore. Today we're going to take a look at actually 6 paint mistakes that people actually make that can make their property actually, or not so much property, but the rooms inside their house look a little bit small. You know, you're trying to do your favorite colors, but it has a tendency with some of these color schemes to make rooms look small.
That's
right. So talk to us a little bit about that idea.
Yeah, Joe, these 6 mistakes, right? So, you know, look, we all dream of having a home that has these bright, big, airy spaces in it. And you know, they're the homes and the pictures that you see as you're scrolling through the internet endlessly at those homes that are out there, that are wherever they're located. And you know, the reality is that we don't necessarily all have the space in our homes to just handle all the stuff that we have, right? So what can happen is we struggle with the space, or the rooms aren't big enough, but then we take these rooms and we paint them, and they actually tend to make them look a little bit even smaller. Right. All right, so the first one I'll look at for the first mistake would be choosing a high contrast color on your trim. What do I mean by that, right? Painting your trim, making it more modern, like a black glossy paint on your trim or on your moldings, although it is modern and it is current, it can actually start to make the room feel a little bit smaller. Okay, so it's actually recommended that you have your trim work and have your molding work be very similar to a little bit lighter than the actual room color that you have on the walls, or actually just have it be a paint. Okay, that's a very neutral, or white paint, have it just be neutral. That helps the room feel a little bit bigger. So keeping, again, the trim work, not going dark on your trim work or on your moldings, keeping that either a lighter shade of color than what you have on the walls, or actually just going white. Okay,
that sounds good. Like that idea. All right, Chris, let's look at number 2, painting your ceiling too dark of a color, or a two-dye, as they say. If you want to have, you have a specific room, kind of going for that cozy hideaway man cave type room, sure, go ahead. Paint it dark, you know, you paint the ceiling a dark color, or not even so much a dark color, but a nice little moody hue, okay? But if your goal is to make the room, you know, you want to make it look a little bit larger than it actually is, what you want to actually do there is you want to actually paint the ceiling a brighter color. If you paint the ceiling a darker color, it's actually going to give the impression that you're dropping it, that the ceiling is dropped. So instead of that, if you paint the ceiling a white or a lighter shade type of paint, it's actually going to act like the walls are even more extended. Putting a lighter paint really at the top of a room and the darker color of a paint at the bottom. So if you're splitting them up, the walls give the impression if they're lighter, the ceilings go up, you know, even further, you know, because they're not cut off by the dark color. If you have like a wainscoting or something like that, maybe you want to take the wainscoting, you want to consider painting that a little bit of a darker hue, a darker color panel, and then lighter on the top of it. So you have that dark, and then as you get lighter, again, it has that sense, or that your eyes have a tendency to take you up higher to make it look like it's a little bit of a higher type ceiling on there, and it doesn't feel like it's a top heavy ceiling if you have that darker color there.
Yeah, which is great too if you're taller.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You want the ceilings to feel like they're a little bit higher than they actually are. So
exactly
that's a great point there.
Yeah.
Mistake number 3 that we have is actually thinking that you always have to choose white paint. Yeah. And which is interesting, and for the last several years, I mean, it's really been about color. White has not really been the color of choice when it comes to the walls and what have you. And so in this example here, because when you're using white paint, we'll obviously have the room feel a lot brighter, a lot cheerier, just a lot cleaner, if you will, because you get a lot of natural light coming in from all the windows. The room itself will just actually feel like a brighter, larger space. Okay. So, however, if you start getting into those windowless rooms, right, they might tend to be a little bit smaller. Could be like your small bathroom, could be a hallway. You may actually want to consider embracing the darker color. Okay, that actually kind of gives it a little bit of a different feel to it, kind of gives it a different mood, and you know, kind of using the darker colors in the bathrooms kind of sets a different tone, right? Makes
Yeah.
it feel a little bit more luxurious,
Sure
if you
thing.
will.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's just something to consider. Bright white, cherry colors in the rooms that have a lot of natural lighting, but in those dark, smaller rooms, maybe going with a darker color in that
Okay.
bathroom or the hallway.
Yep,
Yep.
like that idea. Like it. Okay. So our fourth mistake, when you're looking at painting and how it makes it look a little smaller, you know, a lot of times you get that one room. Okay, you feel like it's a little bit smaller. You have a super small space. Let's just paint it one color, white or eggshell white or something like that. In actuality, if you break up the color in a small room, it does give it the appearance, because now all of a sudden you'll have a wall with a desk in it, and that sort of separates, you know, the desk space is separated from the wall or something like that. So a vibrant type of paint can actually really, you know, separate certain areas, you know, the furniture that maybe you have in there from the rest of the living room you have, or a room that's adjoining that, like to a kitchen or something to that nature. So mixing those colors up rather than one softer color can actually give the impression that the room is a little bit larger than it actually is.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So kind of separate the space
Yeah.
by color. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next mistake that I'm actually going to point out is not painting to reduce visual clutter.
Right.
So this is kind of runs in the same vein, Joe, where we talk about where you want to declutter your space.
Okay.
Okay, so you're decluttering, you're getting rid of all like the little knickknacks and all this other stuff, but now you're going to paint to visually declutter. So what that means is you get into, if you have radiators, if you have shelving or anything like that, you paint those to actually match the colors of the walls, because it kind of gives it just a real finished look. It kind of allows things to kind of blend in.
Okay, yeah.
You don't have things kind of popping out all over the place because they're different colors. So you allow like you're using shelving or you're using like the radiator or something like that. You make that the same color as the wall. It allows that to kind of blend in. Then what you can do is when you have the accent pieces, such as like a fireplace, you're going to paint those that vibrant, different color.
Okay.
That's going to allow that to pop out.
Gotcha.
Right, so that's going to allow that to stand out a little bit more. So it's going to allow the accents to be more accentuated, but you're not just going to have all sorts of stuff where it's just like different color, different color, different color because of what's hanging on the walls or what have you.
So the clutter isn't necessarily stuff. It could be something, as you said, like that's fixated, a radiator, built-in bookshelves or something like that, where you want to sort of have them blend in, making them the same color.
Yeah, making it more cohesive. So it's
Yeah.
just not a bunch of different colors, if you will, as you're going. It's just remains more cohesive.
Okay,
Yep, exactly.
very good. All right, lastly, Chris, one of the things I want to kind of talk about with regards to painting too is you're not designing for depth. So if you're standing in your kitchen and you look through a hallway, and then there's a living room, and then there's another hallway, and there's a family room. Well, rather than having it all be one specific color, if you paint for depth, a lot of times if you're not doing that, everything just kind of blends. As opposed to if you have the kitchen paint and then the farthest room away is more of a darker accented color, that really sort of elongates the room for you.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's a way to, you have the first room you're standing in, that's a really deep color, and then the farthest room might be a lighter color, okay? And that's gonna really kind of make that the far wall make it look like it's receding away from you or something like that.
Okay.
So just a little thing like that. You can consider, archways, or the older houses have the framed out archways or walkways through kitchens and stuff like that. If you have an archway and you paint that a deeper color, but you keep the kitchen bright, it's gonna really give that visual effect of the progression as you're going through the actual room itself.
Yeah,
So just something else to take, to consider as you're going through a darker archway into a brighter space. It really kind of opens up almost like visual as you go through that. So
Oh, that's a
just
good idea.
another tip to take a look at that in there. So folks, that was 6 painting mistakes. Maybe that sometimes we're considering as we're going through. These are simple. I always say that there's a guy for that, so I don't really have to worry about it. Pick the colors and let somebody else do it. But if you have any other questions about this topic here or any others that we discuss regularly here at the TFG Network, please check out our YouTube channel. We've got plenty of topics out there for you to choose from. And if you are looking to buy or sell here at the Jersey Shore, please feel free to reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text or an email. It'll be our pleasure if you're looking to sell. Chris and I are doing equity updates all the time. Buyers, we can certainly specify a criteria for you: beds, bath, price, of course, towns that you may be looking in, so that you're actually getting the most frequent properties that are hitting the market. You're getting them instantaneously. So for Chris Ferzoco, again, I'm Joe Ferzoco, the TFG Network here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the beach next time.